Welcome back to the Webby and O'Neill channel, and it's a match preview. Viktoria Plzen versus Manchester United. As usual, please get involved with your opinions, and we'll try and discuss some of your comments throughout today's video. How are you doing today? How are you feeling? Only a few hours, really, before kickoff.
Calm.
You do look calm, actually. You're smiling.
I am calm. I am calm. I just look at this game and think to myself, you know, it's been a bad period, bad weekend on and off the field. I think to myself, Europa League, it's got the look of being United's #1 priority to get in that Champions League. I just look at it. I'm not driving myself mad. Because the Champions League qualification through top 4 looks an impossible task at this moment. So I'm calm. Things can go wrong tonight quite easily. We've seen it with United. Doesn't matter who the manager is. Doesn't matter the change of the system. These players, to me, just aren't up to the task. There's no hiding place anymore for them. So I'm not going to drive myself mad, not going to scream and shout. I'm looking forward to it. I'm calm. I watched The Wolf of Wall Street last night. I think that calmed me down because I was just laughing and it just took me away from all the carnage and chaos what's going on. So I've turned up today.
Hilfa.
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 All that is on the plane, isn't it?
Yeah.
Going to see the Swiss banker.
Yeah.
Hilfa.
So, you know, I've calmed myself down, just ready for tonight. It's a full squad. So I do expect.
To be honest with you, you're a little bit too calm for me.
No, that might.
I don't know how you're coming across here on video, but you're really, really calm. I expected a little bit of boldness, brashness straight off.
No, I think I've got it out of me. Chanting, ranting, saying things and whatever. But, you know, sometimes these things need to be said. But you're
currently at Manchester United. There's lots of rotation, but I don't see really any improvement and consistency until he actually gets a consistent side. And I don't see that in the next few weeks.
No, it's a priority. Champions League, Premier League, top 4. Of course, that's his priority. That was the Glazers' priority to Sir Alex Ferguson. Nothing's changed. But it's a big pressure on Ruben Amorim. I can't see him turning it around with this squad. Consistently, as I say, making mistakes. The attitude looks bad with 1 or 2 players. And I'm just calm with it all. And I say to myself, Ruben, you've got to start deciding now who's going to be your starting 11. And I think the next few games, Ruben's going to have a look at it. And then there's going to be a drastic change of attitude with Ruben towards some of these players. Like, as I said before, there's no hiding place. The players have been warned. Individuals have been told. So I think there's a clear understanding that come January, certain players will be out of this squad. I think 1 or 2 are already out of this squad, to be honest.
Yeah, I can see a few of your comments coming in about the stream. If you did join us yesterday on a live stream, it was cutting in and out, and we have been in touch with Streamlabs, the actual customer service there, and to actually find out what the problems are, because I've done a total reset on the computer. The performance of the computer is absolutely fine, and if anyone out there has actually got Streamlabs, you'll actually understand as well that it's a really poor customer service, and a bit frustrating as well when you're paying top notch for it as well. But we will be getting on touch with him after the stream's finished to let him know an update. I think it's a little bit of trial and error at the moment, so I do have to apologise to a lot of people out there with the actual stream sticking and lagging a bit. One thing's for sure, it's definitely not the internet, because it is sharp as anything. But if you want to still get involved in the chat with your own opinions. We'll try and discuss it throughout today's video, and it should come back and hopefully reboot itself. But like I say, it's something that we will be sorting out definitely in the next 24 hours. But Orchid says Amorim and these players are on probation, and it's at their probation period right now.
Yeah, it's their probation period, without a shadow of a doubt. Some of them are failing. I think they'll soon find out that their probation been cancelled and they're going to jail, as they say. And that's out of the squad and possibly loaned out, because there is a few players what are going to be loaned out. But probation is the right thing. He knows that, Ruben Amorim. He's got a job to do, and it's very, very difficult. And I think what we have to do as fans is acknowledge how difficult it is. We thought there'd be a new manager bounce, and we haven't seen it. We've seen patches, but these players just aren't up to the standard of what Ruben Amorim wants. They weren't even up to the standard of Erik ten Hag.
Yeah, still getting involved in the chat, everyone. Footy actually says, well, Footy Adventures says, "All right, okay, no worries, fellas. Streamlabs is a pain in the backside to work with, and obviously you've got obviously form for actually using it yourself, mate, because like I say, at the moment, for some reason, we're having a bit of an issue with it, with doing our actual live stream. So hopefully it does come back. Like I say, I'm going to get straight back onto the emails with him to let him know the trial and error in what they've discussed with us. It still isn't working, so it's just a matter of trial and error, like I say. Hopefully we do get back to the regular spot on content soon as. If not, I'll have to go to another streaming service. Richard James is getting involved as well. He gives his score predictions before, like a few people did, and they're all going for a Manchester United win, which, if you look at it, we are actually unbeaten in this competition. Just had a few draws.
Yeah, I don't think I can give a score prediction because I need to see the team. I need to see if it's an attacking team, what he sets up. You know, up front, who's going to be there? I'm not too sure. I don't think anyone can be too sure. I don't think anyone's been able to sort of put down, this is the starting 11 and be accurate. I just want a win. I think if you look at the competition, we've got 2 games left after this. We need to stay up there. We don't want to have to play qualifying games, them 2 extra games. We need to be up there. So winning tonight is the priority. And then with the 2 games there, you've just got to sort of say, let's not get beat in them 2 games. But I think winning tonight is a priority. Yes, they're not the greatest side, but they're not the poorest side neither, what we're playing. So they have to get it right. Ruben Amorim has to get it right. It's a strong squad, and he has to look at tonight's squad. And that's why I can't give a score. He has to look at tonight with one eye on the City game at the weekend, because that is a must not get beat game, to be honest. Not a must win. It's a must not get beat game. So he has to have an eye on the team tonight, with including players looking at Sunday against City, because that is.
Yeah, for me, I think when he put out the starting 11 against Everton, that was with one eye going into the Arsenal game midweek. So I think you'll see a rotation there again tonight. And I think you might see the likes of Xerxes start. Probably maybe even see Casemiro and Eriksen. I mean, I can't actually remember if we've seen Eriksen since he played away to Ipswich or not. Let me know if I'm wrong there. And I think if Eriksen doesn't start tonight, or we don't see him tonight, I do think it's a real possibility that we see him leave in January instead of leaving it until the summer.
Yeah, I think if you don't see him tonight, I think that is the end of Eriksen in January. That, you know, obviously there's been talk of him going anyway, but clearly if he doesn't play tonight, Ruben Amorim has looked at him and gone, got no legs in this team. And that has been a criticism of him, of Eriksen. Good footballer when everyone's together, when they're tight, does play the ball well, he does see a through ball. But when the game gets stretched, he just gets left behind. We've seen that under Erik ten Hag many, many times. And Ruben Amorim's had a look at him, doesn't trust him. If you don't put him in tonight, you can certainly say, as far as I'm concerned, he's one of those players what will be going in January. And to be honest, I look at the inclusion of Lindelöf, excuse me, Lindelöf in the squad. You know, he's another one what could be on his way in January.
Yeah, he could be. And just mentioning Lindelöf, I'm looking at the back 3 that he'll put out tonight, and let's have it right. De Ligt, for me, I think he's a good player. I think there's still a lot more to come from De Ligt. You're looking at Martinez as well, and I'm thinking, what's he really done in the last 12 months, Martinez? Really? You know, you've got Harry Maguire's coming back. You know, everyone keeps writing Harry Maguire off. But you look at his performance away to Arsenal, for me, he looked composed. He actually looked confident, and he got a lot more confidence that I see in Martinez. So for me, if Martinez doesn't start booking his ideas up, I mean, you could start seeing Harry Maguire pushing himself into a starting spot.
I think if you look at Martinez last year, his injury record wasn't good. Missed a lot of games, Martinez, last year. Maybe it's taking time to get up to full fitness. I don't know. It doesn't look the same player as he did 12 months ago. But I look at it, he did have an injury record last year, didn't play as many games as we hoped. And when he wasn't in the team, we looked poor. And at the moment, he's not firing on all cylinders. But don't write Martinez off. Listen, as far as I'm concerned, he's a warrior and he will come good. He's a fighter. And that's what we need in this team. I mean, you don't write this fella off. He's a player what people were looking at as a future captain, even to replace Bruno Fernandes as it is, because that's what you want at the back. It's just not going well for him at the moment. And there's many other reasons. Plus, you also got to look at it. He's playing in a different system and coming back. It will take time to get players used to it, but you do not discount Martinez. And if you do, you do it at your own peril.
No, I do get that, but got to highlight his poor form. I mean, other players that consistently get highlighted week on week, that they're not giving the effort or they're not just putting in the required standard in terms of quality. And I've just not seen that Martinez that we've seen in the first 6 to 12 months here at Manchester United. And, you know, for me, Harry Maguire, I don't think he'd come in and play on the left of that back three, because I just don't think he's got the pace. He'd probably play more central in the middle. You know, you could possibly see Mazraoui on that left-hand side if things don't pick up for Martinez, and let's hope they do, and for the rest of the squad there. But Yoro looks like a top player.
Yeah, Yoro looks a top player. It's a long way to go for him, obviously. That injury, what he had, did give a bad ball away, cost a goal, according to some people. But Yoro, long way to go here yet, and mixing in with this squad, sometimes you don't reach the standards what you're used to because the players around you just aren't giving their all. And some of these players in this squad aren't giving their all. And it's clear to everybody, and it's certainly clear to the new players what have come in, that the standard of this squad and this club is just not what they thought it is. So until we start moving players on, till the attitude changes, till Ruben gets them a proper team out there, what is willing to fight for this club, people like Yoro and that, I think will struggle for 90 minutes in a team playing good football until it's sorted. And I think the next few games are very, very vital, especially in the Premier League, for players here, really, to step up to the mark. I do think Yoro will step up to the mark, but it's going to be tough with the other players around him letting other players down.
Yeah, he just seems very confident, Amorim, when he talks about Yoro and the future he's got. He's always smiling, so he must see something really good there from his personality and also the quality that he sees in training. But over the last few days, Marcus Rashford, he's been in the newspapers, the headlines really from any of the players in the squad about leaving, usual talk of PSG, maybe even Saudi Arabia. For me, I'm taking it with a pinch of salt, because that's what normally happens, from my memory serves me right, that when Man United suffer a defeat or there's turmoil on the pitch, off the pitch, you know, there's players always being linked away from the club.
Always, when United are in trouble, it comes out, player unrest and all that. We've heard it just lately about player unrest, not happy with the rotation. You know, stories like that go around. But the Marcus Rashford one, that'll be rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. That's all we're ever hearing. Marcus Rashford won't leave in January. He will leave in the summer, and Ruben Amorim will get rid of him. Ruben Amorim has told him it's down to him. And he's not the only one what's been told it's down to him. So he's on a warning. He's got it highlighted. Buck up or you're out. But at the moment, Ruben Amorim needs every player in this squad, because I don't think they're looking to bring in and spending money in January. I think it'll be Ruben Amorim, get the best out of this squad, try and get us up in the Premier League. Very, very difficult task. And the priority, I think, is this. And I think Ruben Amorim also looks at it where players like Rashford will have a part to play. But come the summer, Marcus Rashford, no, not for me. He's got to go. And I've said it for a long time now. And a lot of people out there, his whole demeanour, his attitude and everything, the way he walks around on the pitch, the way he just gives off this aura of not being bothered. This is Manchester United. Is a local lad, and he just doesn't seem to care about anything except anything what he's doing off the pitch. And that, for me, is just not good enough. It's an insult, and get rid of him in the summer. But I think Ruben Amorim will need Marcus Rashford like he will need many other players. I still think he'll need Luke Shaw at stages throughout the season, even though we know his injury record is very, very bad. Players like that should be moved on. But every player has a part to play, because they all really should be fighting to try and get us out of this dire situation. Unfortunately, some of them are going to let us down. That's why I'm calm, because I know that they're going to let us down, and they're going to let Ruben Amorim down. They've let manager after manager down because they're only bothered about themselves.
Yeah, indeed. You mentioned Luke Shaw there, and be a lot better squad if he was actually fit and available consistently as well. And I talked about that back three before, and he'd be my first choice, Luke Shaw, a fully fit Luke Shaw on that left-hand side of the free, because I just think he can defend the space better than any of the other players that we've got, and also attack as well and push up wide when needs be, because he has got a good football brain, Luke Shaw. And what is he now? Is he 29 years old? I think he's had roughly 34, 35 England caps. I think it's time for Luke Shaw to retire from England football now, me. If I'm Luke Shaw's dad, him, his agent, or someone close to him, I'd be having serious talks with him about trying to prolong his football club career, especially here at Manchester United. And the only way that seems possible is actually retiring from England's international duty. You've had a fair whack at it, 35 caps roughly, there or thereabouts. You know, if you look at the average games he's played per season since he joined Manchester United, it's not a lot. And it seems to be he's breaking down more and more now with different injuries as well, muscle injuries. And for me, why even still take that chance by putting yourself out there for England international duty with the games that they will play? And, you know, more and more games are being played these days as well. And it'll only happen with the internationals. So for me, at his age, you know, he's had a good whack at it. You know, concentrate on your club career now.
Listen, common sense tells Luke Shaw, the body's not right. So you need to cut down on football. And one way of doing that is your international career. But I think he should cut down. I think he should stop his international career. But he won't, because I've looked at Luke Shaw since he's been here. It's the international. That's what he worries about. I mean, Roy Keane says, yeah, players are unfit. But when it comes to like international tournaments in the summer and that, they suddenly get fit. And Luke Shaw thought he was fit, went this summer, and it was a disaster. But we all said it was going to be a disaster. I don't see him quitting his international career, but it's the sensible thing to do. But let's see what happens in the future. We'll all know Luke Shaw's attitude, and we'll also know a lot of these players' attitude, because this fight has to go on now. Has to go on tonight, has to go on Sunday. Every game, it has to be a fight. But the thing is, I don't believe every game they will fight, because I don't believe in this squad at all. To let Ruben Amorim down, he's got a change of style, everything. I think when you bring in players like Malacia, I think they're the players of the future. They're the players what are going to work for you and everything else like that. I think there's other players in the squad. I think Garnacho, I've said it, people have criticised me for it. I think he's got to raise his standards. I think he's going backwards. I don't think he's doing as much as last year. It's there in him. The potential's there going forward. But what I am glad about is that Ruben Amorim's there with all his coaches. If anyone can do it at the moment, turn him round, get him right and get him playing in the right system. And it's vital, because if Malacia's there, and I do believe in Malacia in this role, them two could have a great partnership going forward. So the quicker he gets into his stride, Garnacho, I think playing Malacia, come back a couple of times now after 16 months out, I think you need partnerships, because Delo out there, for me, Delo this year has just gone way down. Standards what he had last year. I mean, he was looking as the most consistent player for United last year, and look at him now. I think at times he doesn't know what he's doing.
The thing is, we've always had that though, under Eric Ten Hag, especially with Delo and Bruno. Whenever they fit, they play automatically.
No, but that's a different. That's a different thing.
No matter whether they're going through poor form or not. And you've seen it under Amorim. Lots of rotation in the actual starting 11 in what he's picked since he's joined, and it's always Delo, Bruno every single time. Well, so is that down to him trusting him in terms of the high intensity, the work rate above all, or what? Because there's not been that performance level in terms of quality from both of them for a long time now either.
No, he's put trust in him, okay, because he knows him, he spoke to him, he understands him, he's put the trust in him, okay, and Delo isn't showing that back, that faith, what Ruben's putting in, and I think you'll see a different Ruben Amorim here soon, because he has to get Champions League. That's what the club want. They need, from the finances, the riches of it and everything else like that. And that's where Manchester United should be. And this squad really should be way higher than what it is. And I think the time is going to come, and it will come shortly, round about New Year, where it's like, okay, Delo, I've given you enough rope. At the end of the day, you've hung yourself. That's how I look at it. You've not done what I thought you would do or what you've said. And we need to change it. And I think that's why Malacia will have a great opportunity here. I did say the other day about Malacia. He's come back at the right time. He's come back into a new system. He was here, brought in as a left back, injured 16 months. Now he's come out, young lad, fit, wants to regain a place, wants a place, and he's going to fight for it. And he's been given an opportunity on the left wing back position, and I think it actually suits him. I didn't think he got the crosses in and all that, but he was positioned, getting up and down the pitch was good. 45 minutes here, 45 minutes there. Long way to go for this lad. And I think in the new year, I think he will cement that place over Delo, because it does not suit him at all. And he is not linking up with Garnacho. I think Malacia might be a better option.
Yeah, I'm fully on board with whatever Ruben Amorim does and actually says, to be honest with you. I do think it's refreshing hearing the actual honesty in his press conferences and his interviews. And, you know, despite that second half against Arsenal, you've definitely seen a plan and an organisation within that team in that first half. But we will go back to the same old scenario. Against the top teams, we find it hard to score against.
Listen, we found it hard to score against the top teams for a long time. It was a while before we even beat a top team. I think we beat a top team, and the next thing you know, they were sixth. They were going down the league. But listen, we've got to find a way of scoring goals consistently, and that is the problem here at Manchester United, and has been for a long time. And when you look at Højlund and when you look at Xerxes, I've not heard anyone say a good word about Xerxes. People are 50-50 on Højlund. Is he good enough? If he gets in the position, he lacks the ball coming in from the wings. So there's excuses for Højlund. But with Xerxes, it just seems as though he is not good enough. Doesn't seem to be able to like run proper, get in the right position, head the ball. Now, for a bloke the size of him, he's not getting up for any headers. I've not seen him win any headers with centre-halves when he's supposed to be battling up there. I don't even believe he is a natural centre-forward, to be honest with you. Looking at him at the moment, and you've just got to hope that Ruben Amorim is able to turn him into a centre-forward, because if he doesn't, then unfortunately, it's just another bad buy, and you might have to move on as quickly as possible. And the good thing here, when you do look, and we do criticise Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos for the way they're running the club and the decisions as all like it's poor and it annoys us, but they are acting. So you have to hope that they do get it right, because there's no alternative. Okay, the other alternative was the Glazers, and they've run this club into the ground. I'm not happy with what's going on, but I don't see Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the people what he's brought in keeping underperforming players. So Xerxes, the pressure is on, because if he doesn't perform, there's no holding on to these players. There's no welfare officer. Certainly no welfare officer inside Manchester United. Oh, don't worry about it. You know, we'll keep you there. And I do understand the problems you're going through. No. It's a football club. They're running it as a business football club. We want results on the pitch. And if you're not doing it, you're out of here. So there won't be 2-3 years of hanging on to Xerxes. He'll be out the door if he don't turn it around, because he clearly hasn't done it. I've made excuses for him, but there's a time you have to stop making excuses.
Yeah, and there'll be a lot of people out there saying, well, you won't be able to shift them, Tony. They're on huge wages, etc. But I was just having a think there, and you look back to Jadon Sancho. I mean, a lot of people out there, including myself, thought we'll be hanging on to him for at least another couple of years, because of high wages, his contract, it'll be hard to shift him. But they got that deal done in the summer. You know, you look at Scott McTominay, a lot of people still out there would have preferred to have kept Scott McTominay, you know, academy player. At least he gives you like 100% every single game, which can't be said for a lot of these players still here. So for me, I think in the summertime, once Ruben's got a full idea of who's on the journey and who's not, and that list is given to the people who matter about doing the transfers, I think we will start seeing players getting shifted out. I really actually do.
Well, that's what they're here for. They're here, no nonsense, cut down costs, penny pinching, whatever we want to call it. They're not having it. But the summertime, that's the key. We'll see how good they are at negotiating, getting these players out, not caring about the money. We're here, Sir Jim Ratcliffe. I'm not here to make any money. Well, get these players out. It doesn't matter if you're losing X amount of millions on them. You look at Anthony, for instance. I like the fellow when he come in, but clearly he's not up to the task here. And I think Ruben Amorim clearly knows that. So if you don't see Anthony in the side tonight or over the next couple of games, you know he's getting moved out on loan, minimum out on loan, and quite rightly so, because he just does not do it. And on field, off the field, completely gone pear-shaped. So you look at him, you look at Rashford, but Rashford has the luxury, I think, of staying here till the end of the season. Whereas with Anthony, to me, there's no point. If he doesn't play tonight, there is no point keeping Anthony because he's only given him a few minutes and he clearly cannot do it, no matter whether it's in the Europa League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Premier League. It is a one-trick pony, and that one trick is just not anything anyway.
I agree. Going into the chat, Jake Harrison said earlier on that I'm behind Ruben Amorim, but we need to establish his best 11 as soon as possible if he wants consistent results, and I'm totally on board with that. But I just think this is a process, especially this month. You know what the Christmas period is like anyway, not just for United, for all the teams, and you do see rotation as well. And I think when we come to the new year, you know, maybe after that Liverpool game or for that game, you'll then start seeing a settled side because, you know, there's no teams out there who get consistent results when they're chopping and changing week on week. So he does need to find that, and I'm sure he knows that himself. I mean, he's a smart guy. You know, you just got to listen to him, haven't you?
Yeah, I think once we've played Newcastle at Christmas time, I think after that, that's when you'll see Ruben Amorim say, right, I know everything about these players, what they're capable of, everything. Yeah. And then I've got a nucleus of players, what I can try and work, and some of these, the rest of the players will be out on the sideline. And, you know, I said it the other day, I could name 50% of this squad what I wouldn't even have here now, right now. But the thing is, Ruben Amorim needs him. He needs to put a nice word in their ear. He needs to cajole them into getting it out on the pitch. But unfortunately, they're not able to do it for 90 minutes because the mindset isn't right. They've got thoughts in their head about other things. I won't be here. I don't care. I'm looking forward to something else. And that, unfortunately, is the modern footballer here at Manchester United. And I'll repeat what I said the other day. I don't hear of any United player ever wanting to leave this club. I never hear of him. They'll work the contract out, but they don't want to leave because they're not going to get the money elsewhere. They're on mega money.
Won't be talked about anywhere else like they would be at Manchester United.
That's correct.
Well. And, you know, there's a same old saying, isn't there, that there's, what is it, there's no such thing as bad publicity. And with certain things, you know, especially what go on at this football club with players, I mean, some of the players, you know, I was talking about Harry Maguire before. I mean, there was a time of a period of roughly 18 months where he was constantly getting slaughtered. Ahmad personally abused as well. And like I say, you look at him now this season, when he has played the games, he looks confident, he looks assured, and it's something that I'm happy for him about as well, because he stuck around. In the summertime, we spoke about it, that really he should be looking for new pastures, going out there, playing some regular football at other football clubs. But he stayed here, and for me, he's still got a big part to play in this actual squad and this starting 11 this season, because I'm not seeing a real consistency, a 7, 8 out of 10 performance from that back three, back four, week on week, apart from Mr. Consistent, and that's Mazraoui.
Well, if you look at Harry Maguire, there's one thing you're not going to get with Harry Maguire is a consistent performance. Harry Maguire, he's being utilised as rotation. That's what he's being used as. He's not the future of Manchester United. You do not get a consistent 7, 8 out of 10 of Harry Maguire. That's been his problem, unfortunately. And he has had criticism, and deserved criticism.
Of course.
Right? Deserved the criticism for his performances and lack of awareness, lack of ball control and everything else like that. But the way he's been used, his body is collapsing, but he's being used in little bits here, little bits there. And I'm happy with that because that suits Harry Maguire and it suits United because he's putting in a decent performance when he comes on. And I'm not knocking him this year.
But we've got huge problems when we've got a player like then Harry Maguire, in your opinion, that's clearly not good enough. He starts playing consistently games. That means there's a bigger problem that the people that they've brought in over the last couple of years, like De Ligt, Martinez, aren't then good enough going forward. That shows you a bigger problem if Harry Maguire starts playing consistently under Ruben Amorim. That, for me anyway.
Listen, I look at what you say there, Kieran, and you'll be right. But let's not start imagining problems what may be coming along.
No, I'm talking about problems right now in what we've seen already from the start of the season. up until now. Now, you do look at the Nottingham Forest game, he does a lot of rotation in the game with his defenders. Does that give you any stability, any confidence as a player going forward? I'm not too sure because I'm not in that dressing room or training every day.
Okay.
But for me, like we said earlier on, and I think it was Keith or Jake who put that comment in, we will need to see consistency in that new year. And it'd be good to see. I'm excited to see who is in his actual starting 11, who he thinks is his best 11 as well.
I'm not knocking rotation. Every player has to be seen by Ruben Amorim. And then when he makes the decision, that's the final decision on every player in this squad. What he has to do, he has to keep rotating. He has to put these players out in games that sometimes they might feel uncomfortable about, and bringing them on as subs or starting them, they might feel uncomfortable. But he needs to see these players in a fiery atmosphere out there, go out there and do this and do that. Some of these players, he needs to see them in action. So the rotation is going to continue. It will continue. And then come January, I just hope it stops where all these players are fit. And that is the thing. A lot of the rotation is being used as fit. He's looking at the big picture long term. Harry Maguire will come in. Other players are coming in. They're coming out. Okay, Rashford, in, out, in, out. Oyland scores goals. The next thing you know, he's out. Same thing with Rashford. Same thing with Xerxes. Scores goals. He's out. This is what it's about. And it's having an understanding that Ruben Amorim has to do this to be able to go forward in the future. And at the moment, we're suffering because of it. But I think it's a logical thing to do to find out who you can trust going forward and who needs to be at this club and who needs to go.
Like Mike, cheers for your super chat, mate. He says, what more does Ahmad need to do for you to agree he can get a new contract, ? Run through walls, ? I'm not too sure where you're coming from with that, mate. We've always said that Ahmad's a player that should be in this team more consistent than anyone else. I mean, he's a player that in this current squad, especially this season, is the only one who gets you off your seat and you feel that can make something happen. I mean, I did say a couple of weeks ago, it's his breakthrough season this season. I know he's got this year in his contract and then it's a 1-year option, but I wouldn't negotiate a contract with him during this season. I would be saying to him, as an agent, as a family, concentrate on your football. Let's not put any pressure on you signing a new deal halfway through the season, because you know what can happen with players when they sign that new contract. Let's get the best performances out of you this season and sit down round the table together with the club and sort out and thrash out a new deal. If it was Manchester United, they'd just trigger that 1-year option right now, like they have done in the past, in the last couple of years. When they do get to December, they trigger the 1-year deals. I think they've done it with Wan-Bissaka, they've done it with Delo. I think they might have even done it with Luke Shaw at one point. And I would expect him to do that because, let's face it, over the years, the last 10, 15 years at Manchester United, young players have broke through. And then because they're absolutely shit scared of losing him, they throw big contracts at him. And then they think they've made it. And then they don't think they have to prove anything. So for me, Ahmad, I think he's got a high ceiling. I think there's lots more to come from Ahmad. I think he's going to be a top player. Let's not throw everything at him right now. Go and prove yourself, son, just like everyone else out there. And I go for Kobbie Mainoo, people like that, Garnacho as well, Hoyland. All these young players have got to prove themselves, especially with the established so-called stars in this club as well.
Well, I look at Ahmad, right? He has to cement that place. Right? He's already took Anthony right out the scene. So there's no worries there. Yeah. So swapping and putting Rashford on the right or Garnacho on the right, that has to stop. Okay, we've not seen it recently. Ahmad's there. And I've said consistently this year, that is the player what excites everybody. Once he's got the ball at his feet and he runs at him, right, he's a danger. And once he gets in the area, he creates havoc. It's not often he does it. They didn't give him the ball the other day as much as they should have done, especially at Arsenal when he come on at half-time, right? But he is the danger. But just give him that 1-year option, speak to him in the summer and sort it out. Ruben Amorim's only just got here, so we don't know what's in his mind. And we have to go with what he says. But there is no way we can afford at this moment to even think of letting players like Ahmad go who have the potential for the future. We've never called for him. I didn't think he'd make it when he first started here at Man United. Went out on loan, come back. I wasn't too sure whether he'd fit into it, but he clearly does. So I changed my mind a long time ago about Ahmad being capable of being in this squad. and in the Manchester United team, he has proved time and time again he is a dangerous man with that ball at his feet, and he frightens defenders, and that's what we all like to see. So for me, he cemented that place out wide. I'm just a little bit peeved that he keeps getting dropped and under this rotation, under the way the rotation's being used. But I do understand why that rotation's being used, and it'll all change in January, as I see it. And that's when you will see Ahmad in his regular place out there.
Yeah, for me, Ahmad's first on the scene this season, like Garnacho did as well in his first season, in what he was actually giving to the team. You look at Garnacho in the first 12 months, it didn't always go right when he tried dribbling past players, but what I liked about him was he'd get back up and he'd keep trying it, keep going, keep going, keep going. Whereas this season especially, we're not seeing that. He's tending not to dribble past players a lot more than what he used. Well, he's not doing that like he did do. And his overall awareness as well in front of goal when he's high up the pitch, looking far too much for me at his bootlaces, instead of looking to see who he can pass to in the actual box, where it's most importantly where you're going to score goals. So, like I say, with Ahmad, just let him be. Let him try and enjoy the football. There's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of doom and gloom a little bit.
I think that's what they're doing with him.
Around the actual football club. Let some of these players, especially the younger ones, just enjoy the football, and have a chat with them and say, look, we'll come back to this at the end of the season. Don't worry about it for now. Let's trigger that 1-year contract. And I think what it is with a lot of people out there with comments I see on the channel, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, since he's walked through the door with this air of superiority with the people he's coming with, cutting jobs, 250 plus jobs gone. Other jobs have gone in there as well, like Sir Alex Ferguson. I think people want to see that same ruthlessness on the pitch with these players. But that's why I'm confident, like I said earlier on, with deals that they got done with Jadon Sancho. Scott McTominay was one, which was clearly done for the PSR reasons, so it's a full profit sale. And I do expect him to be that ruthless again in this summertime. But I think the likes of Ahmad, for the time being, and what I'm seeing, especially with his attitude on the pitch, which is most important, I think he's safe. I think he'll be all right if he carries on doing what he's doing. Yeah,
well, you just got to look at the summer now and say to yourself, whatever comes now, there's going to be big changes, because this squad's not going to change. Might get shortened by a couple of players leaving in January. I very much doubt that we're going to bring in players what are going to fit in this squad. I just don't see it. Half this squad needs to go, and that'll end up in the summer. So let's just hope he does it, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and that he is what he says he is, right on the ball, backing the manager, because the manager says being backed, and he likes what he's hearing and everything else like that. He's here to win things, but it's an impossible task at this moment with that squad.
Need to definitely see improvement now on the pitch this season for Ruben Amorim, because
you might not see it. You just might not see it.
Because for me, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, an impatient man. I think when you look at around things, what he's been talking about, the stadium, squad, it seems like he's in a rush to get things done, and the Dan Ashworth's basically sacking him over last weekend tells you that, what was he in the job for 5 months? For him, if he's seeing something or hearing something that he doesn't like, what is not improving the football club, people will be sacked there and then. And you look back and when he tried to buy Chelsea, didn't he? I actually see similarities between him and Roman Abramovich, where if it's not performing, the manager, the players, or anyone inside that club, you're gone. That's the way I see, looking and hearing from Sir Jim Ratcliffe. But is that the right way to go? Because is he actually taking enough time then to think about things, which you would expect he does actually do, because he's a billionaire, runs successful companies. But sometimes if that fan sentiment comes into it as well,
I think when you look
is he jumping the gun too quick? We don't know, especially with that Dan Ashworth story, because it all seems positive PR coming from the football side of the club at the moment. Nothing really from Dan Ashworth's side. But you'd just like to hope that they've made the right decision in cutting the losses. But I do see that cutthroat mentality from him.
Yeah, but he's doing
no one's safe. And you look at the end of this season. Last season, finishing 8th was unacceptable. Ruben Amorim doesn't finish higher than 8th this season. What does he think then, Sir Jim Ratcliffe? What does he actually think? Because let's face it, he's not giving a long-term contract.
No.
He got given 2.5 years. So when this season finishes, he's got 2 years left on his contract. United finished 10th, we're 13th right now. If you look at the teams above the table, how far can we actually go? and finish this season? Can we finish higher than 8th? Are you confident, more or less, that we can finish higher than 8th? Because he's clearly pointed the finger at Dan Ashworth in things that have gone on inside the football club, that he's made mistakes, or he doesn't like things that he said or done. So he's gone. So who's going to cop it then if Manchester United finish outside the top 8 come the end of the season? Is it going to be the manager? Is it going to be Omar Barada because he's brought the manager in? Is it going to be the players? Which I'm all on board for. That should be the #1 priority. A lot of these players still need to go.
Well, it's the manager what always takes the blame.
Of course it is. And I just think to myself, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, his cutthroat is ruthless. And I've got that air, that feeling like he is similar to like a Roman Abramovich, where he'll get people in, he'll try it, he'll test it, but if it's not working, he'll rip it off straight away. There's no such thing of, let's see how this goes. Let's see how it progresses.
Well, it's going to be very interesting if we finish lower than 8th, how the fan base is going to react. Who are they going to blame? Because someone has to be blamed. Well, I just look at it straight away. I don't think this squad, as it is right now, will improve. I think we'll get so far, taking that next step. I don't think this squad's got it in him. You just look at it, you just know. There was decent performances at times in some of the games, but they just can't seem to take that step. I think everything's new. The tactics, the style, the shape, everything. And this manager here has got a lot of work to do. But I think he knows that. And I'm just hoping that the men in suits, the board, understand that. And I think that's why they brought him in, because they've seen how desperate and how bad this squad is. And they think and then it's needed as an overall. Because I think they expected Erik ten Hag, by giving him the money, expected this squad to improve and then maybe get at least Champions League, which they would have been happy with, because then they would have sacked Erik ten Hag at the end of the season anyway, because I think that was the plan, to bring Ruben Amorim. But the task looks virtually impossible now. And I think, to be honest with you, I think looking at Sir Jim Ratcliffe and all that, I think they know it's impossible to get in the Champions League. And this is their priority, which I did say at the beginning, that the priority has to be in the Champions League. And this looks the only way, the Europa League. And he has to get the best out of him. And I think the European football will suit Ruben Amorim more at this moment with this squad than it does in the Premier League, to be honest with you, because the intense how the Premier League is to the European football at times, you do get a little bit of time to build up football and build up your play. So I think it might suit Ruben Amorim a lot more. But let's hope for a win tonight. That's all I can say.
Yeah, saying that in terms of like being cutthroat, comparing him to Roman Abramovich, because if you look at OGC Nice, they come in there in 2019. I think they're on their 8th manager already. I think 2 of them they had to replace because they were poached by other clubs, but then you're still taking it down to 6. So for me, I do actually think when over the past week from pundits, other United platforms, seeing a lot of people saying, especially against the Arsenal game, this is a free hit for Manchester United. We know where we're currently at in the league, etc. I don't think anyone in that football club is thinking of any game this season as a free hit. Let's just try and establish a style of play this season.
That's all it is.
I mean, you look at other managers who've come in at other teams, like Emre, even Postecoglou in his first season. You look at the Bournemouth manager. I mean, he's got them playing football. They do it in a short space of time. I've already seen differences from Ruben Amorim's team to what we were doing under Erik ten Hag. And I've got every confidence in the next few weeks we'll see a huge difference to what we're seeing now. But it's not going to take him all season just to set up a 3-4-3.
So if it doesn't improve, what you're saying is if it doesn't improve, that it shouldn't take all season, then it's down to Ruben Amorim not being able to get the best out of this squad. That's basically what you're saying when you base it on other managers, what have come in. A lot of people out there will take that as the way you're saying it. If he doesn't improve this, like other managers have done.
What I'm saying is, in terms of a style of play, a system, it doesn't take a top manager like Ruben Amorim from now until the end of the season to implement that. You'll see it come the new year, the start of the new year. At the most, because we're already seeing changes. Now, like I say, all it is a formation and players to work that formation. If the players then can't adapt to that, it's a players' problem, which we all know there's a lack of quality in this squad. Not even quality, just players not wanting to fight and run for the ball and trap back and work as a team. There's too many players in here who are working as individuals. So it'll make it a lot easier. This is what I'm trying to say. A lot easier for Ruben Amorim and the club come the end of the season to identify the players what they would have already have done to get them out of the club.
I think they know that now. No, listen. Listen.
Well, I don't think they do know that now because he's rotating. There's too much rotation been going on.
He knows. You know, it's down to attitude. Okay, you need to put it in. Okay, never mind the training. You need to put it in on the pitch. And he's already quoted players training and that, and it's not being put out there. He's already named individuals. They already know now. Everybody out there seems to be on board with Ruben Amorim, okay, because they can see and they listen to him and they can see there's a style, okay, and it's the players what aren't able to do it. Yes, he's rotating and he does give reasons why they rotate, and that's because of injuries, things like that, people fitness. You know, you look at Ugarte, didn't have a pre-season and that, so he's being looked after, and there's quite a few other players what have come back from injury, okay, so he knows what these players are capable of. And when it comes to January, he already knows. We know what look.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying before. It doesn't take you that long, right, to implement a style.
He's done it.
And then work out what players are on the journey and who's not.
Well, we know that.
And it's like I said earlier on, a lot of people are mentioning like, oh, this game's a free hit as well for Manchester United.
There's no free hit.
There's no such thing as a free hit.
No. But when you talk about players...
people are going to turn around on the derby on Sunday and say, oh, this is a free hit, we're not expecting anything. Do you think people in the club are thinking that? Do you think they're saying it tonight?
No, look, listen.
Not to you.
People do say it, that, oh, it's a free hit. No, there's no such thing as a free hit, right? There's no such thing as a free meal, okay? When it comes to these players, okay, we already know the style and everything. We're all behind Ruben Amorim, okay? And we all know it's down to these players. I've already said today, 50% of these players I can name who should be gone. Some people out there might name more. Ruben Amorim already knows what we've known before he come in. He has to deal with what he's got. And then 50% of the players I don't believe are good enough and should be out of this club are not going to perform for Ruben Amorim because they know they'll be out of the club. That's why it's going to be tough in the Premier League. And that's why I look at how United are going to get out of the situation. It's through the Europa League. These players are going to let him down because they shouldn't be here now. They know it. They're not asking to be left. They're going to be forced out one way or the other, and hopefully they do get out and we do get new players in. But Ruben Amorim can't turn these players around because they keep performing the way they have been doing for a long time because they're not putting everything into it, okay? Unlike other managers, where you see where they've come in, changed the style, put a different emphasis on something different, tweaked a few things, and then got the team playing, okay? We can't do that because we've got a squad of where half the squad minimum doesn't care.
Yeah, but this is the thing.
And that's not going to change.
And I think he's a top coach, Amorim, and it doesn't take him that long from now to the end of the season to implement that. And when I'm hearing people saying, no, we've got a free hit, for me, you're letting the players off. These players who are consistently underperforming by people saying that. And like I say, I've heard it on quite a lot of fan channels out there in the last 7 days, even pundits out there as well. And it's like, what are you talking about? Do you think Ratcliffe in there, Berardo, are talking to Amorim saying you've got a free hit this weekend or midweek against Arsenal? Come on. Well, you know, it's all about raising standards at this football club. And any players that don't raise their standards, you're out the door, son.
Well, the quicker the better. Yeah. Quicker the better. Let's hope Christmas gets here and he turns it round and is able to move on some of these players to the sideline and concentrate on those what want to play. And some of those players might be coming in January from the youth setup or something like that to take away some of the players already in this squad. That's how I see it.
It is how you see it. Yeah, I think we might be going to wrap it up there. It looks like a lot of you have been getting involved with each other. I do apologise for not getting you involved as much today, but it looks like you've all been having a good chat about tonight's game. Get your score predictions in as well. I thought I'd do a little bit of a longer stream today, just with them a couple of issues that we had at the start of the stream. Don't worry, when I finish this stream right now, I'm going to give Streamlabs a right piece of my mind as to what's going on, sorry, because it's been a bit of trial and error back and forth with him. as to try and get us back to where we were with a consistent stream. And yeah, I'd just like to thank you all for joining us, sticking with us, getting involved as well. Fred Grantham as well, legend, for gifting 5 memberships earlier
Legend.
on. 5 people who got them memberships. Give a big thank you to Fred. We'll be back straight after tonight's game with a match reaction. Let's hope we win. Bit of positivity going into the derby on the weekend, as usual.
Be about half an hour after the game, won't it?
I don't know. See how fast we work. Let's see how much you've got to say, which is normally a lot. So it might be a little bit longer.
Come on, United.
Come on, Reds. We'll see you later tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.